US Defence Secretary Lloyd Austin has warned this is a dangerous moment in the Middle East in his first press conference since 3 American soldiers were killed in a drone strike in Jordan last week. Our Washington correspondent Anneliese Nielsen joins us live. Now, Anneliese, Austin has warned the US is ready to take all necessary action.
He has, but this has very much echoed what we've been hearing from the White House for a few days, and the question still on many minds is, what will that action be? This is the first time we've heard from Defence Secretary Lloyd Austin after these 3 US soldiers were killed in a press conference format. And that's quite important because this comes not only off the back of his own personal battle with prostate cancer and the drama that followed that when it was made clear that he didn't let the president know that he was in hospital, eventually in the ICU, and indeed diagnosed with prostate cancer. And so that's raised questions about how this has all been handled. He took many questions on that today, but the message was quite clear that this is a dangerous time in the Middle East and they are prepared for things to potentially continue.
The president will not tolerate attacks on American troops, and neither will I. This is a dangerous moment in the Middle East. We will continue to work to avoid a wider conflict in the region, but we will take all necessary actions to defend the United States, our interests, and our people. And we will respond when we choose, where we choose, and how we choose.
Now, they keep saying that this is going to be a multi-tiered response, given the idea that there's not going to be a single retribution strike against Iran, who's widely assumed to have backed these militia that have been launching these attacks, including this drone strike in Jordan that killed the 3 US soldiers and injured more than 40 others. The other context that's important here is there's been over 160 different attacks on US troops throughout the Middle East, in particular in Iraq and Syria, since October 7. And this is seen as an escalation. The question is, how do they deal with this from here? The most emphatic words from the Defence Secretary came towards the end of his press conference.
You know, I don't think the adversaries are of a one-and-done mindset, and so they have a lot of capability. I have a lot more, and so you know, we, as I said earlier, we're going to do what's necessary to protect our troops and our interests.
Pete, the other factor to consider here is the domestic implications for Joe Biden. He's running for office again, and this is becoming a real issue for him within his own party. Take for the fact that he's off to Michigan today. This is a really important state for anyone who wants to pick up the presidency next year. They'll probably need to pick up Michigan. It's also the state with the highest concentration of Arab American voters. And they've been highly critical of how Joe Biden's been handling this conflict between Israel and Gaza. So I don't think it's any coincidence that the president's now released an executive order today targeting Israel and particular the West Bank. In this executive order, it says, I hereby report that I have issued an executive order declaring a national emergency to deal with the threat posed by the situation in the West Bank, including in particular high levels of extremist settler violence, forced displacement of people and villages, and property destruction. There's a few people who've been accused of that now have their assets within the United States frozen, and they're unable to access that because of this executive order. It seems that this is very much the message that Joe Biden wants to send as he heads into this very interesting election cycle later in the year. Right now, he's in Michigan courting the United Auto Workers endorsement. That's really critical for a Democrat president to have that union on side, because every one of those votes will count.